They say behind every great man, there's always a great woman. In F1, however, the saying is a bit different, where behind a great driver, there's usually always a great father. During his motorsport career, Lewis Hamilton has greatly praised his father for his success in motorsport. Today, he currently holds a total of 7 world titles, 99 wins, 174 podiums, 101 pole positions, as well as 3,980.5 points, making him, statistically speaking, the most successful driver in Formula 1 history. But what exactly did Anthony Hamilton teach his son in order for him to achieve what he's achieved? Lewis Hamilton came from a financially poor background. Compared to his rivals, he had very little resources to make himself race. Nonetheless, his dad gave everything for his son. At one point in his karting career, Anthony Hamilton was working 3 jobs and even remortgaged his house to keep his son's dreams up and running. Hamilton states that his father never doubted his abilities once, even when things didn't seem to go his way. Therefore, the first golden rule that can be deduced is the power of perseverance. This is a trait that is incorporated in many aspects of Hamilton's racing. In an interview conducted by In-Depth Graham in 2015, Hamilton was asked how his dad made him practice around the racetrack. More specifically, he explained how his dad would teach him to brake as late as possible for the next corner. His dad would try to observe and study where the current British karting champion would brake. He would then position himself a couple of meters ahead of the braking point adopted by the current British karting champion. He would tell Lewis, "You have to brake here," and Hamilton told the interviewer that he would often reply, "But I can't." His dad would firmly restate, "Brake here," and so Hamilton would do it. He would have to attempt the late braking maneuver corner until he would execute it perfectly. It didn't matter if he spun or ended off track, his father would force him to try again until he would get it right. Hamilton then stated this constant repetition would make it so that in races he would simply dominate, as he would be the latest of the breakers, resulting him in simply gaining those extra tenths, separating him from the best of the rest. This is an example of how perseverance comes a long way, not just in F1, but in life in general. "If you put the work into it, you will succeed," says Lewis Hamilton. The importance of perseverance and consistency can also be seen through his championships. Lewis Hamilton has always been known for his ability to remain consistent, always finish in the points, avoid as many crashes as possible, and always try to maximize results despite the situation. Hamilton has adopted this strategy repeatedly during his years, and it's brought him a lot of success. There were times where his car was not the best and he was still able to bring home the title. In 2018, especially at the beginning of the season, there were times where his car was inferior to Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari, but his ability to capitalize on the certain situations, as well as the German's mistakes, enabled him to limit the damage in the first part of the season. In the second part of the season, the greatly updated Mercedes W09 enabled him to unleash his full potential, which resulted in his title win at the Mexican Grand Prix in 2018. This can also be seen in the current 2021 title fight with Max Verstappen. The 2021 Mercedes has not been as fast as Red Bull's RB16B. This shows how his ability to remain constant and persevere, no matter the extent of the struggle, has affected Lewis's F1 driving style and his overall race craft. It can be stated that Anthony Hamilton, much like Jos Verstappen, greatly believed in their son's abilities, but nonetheless tried to push them to the limits no matter what. Another element that has surely helped Hamilton grow was the hostile climate in which he found himself during his young karting years. Unfortunately for him, he was the only black racer, and he had to deal with a great deal of racist remarks from time to time. At school, things were also not the best. He had to learn martial arts in order to defend himself from the bullies who would regularly pick on him. Lewis states he would have wanted to answer back and give in to the racist provocations from his fellow rivals. However, his dad told him to let the track do the talking. This is a solid piece of advice, giving Hamilton a fighter mentality, which is still one of his strong points to this day. The fact that he had to keep control of his emotions from such a young age made him a formidable racer, as well as a master under pressure. Many motorsport experts consider Lewis Hamilton an opportunist, with the ability to understand what battles are worth fighting for and which should be avoided. This ability has enabled him to stay away from many crashes and enabled him to maximize his number of points scored. His mastery in controlling his feelings and emotions while fighting for championships has certainly aided Lewis Hamilton in his F1 career, and can be most definitely attributed to his particular upbringing. It's clear to say that Anthony Hamilton has given a lot for his son. He did everything in his power to make sure that Lewis could attend races and follow his dreams. But it wasn't just financial help that Anthony Hamilton gave Lewis. It was also a rich mental skill set, which in the long term made him F1's most successful driver. The evidence of this is quite obvious. After all, there must be a reason for which Lewis has a great tone of respect and admiration for his father.